to Hood Politics. In this episode, I will be discussing the story of Merlin Santana. The facts of the case are as follows. Merlin Santana was born on March 14, 1976 in the Washington Heights neighborhood of New York City. Merlin's parents, Leah and Domingo, came to America from the Dominican Republic with the dreams of a better life for themselves and their family. Washington Heights has a large Dominican population, so the family was able to remain close to their roots while living in America. Merlin was born prematurely and given a 50% chance of survival. The doctor told Leah that if he did survive, it would be a miracle, so when he arrived healthy and without any issues, she named him Merlin after Merlin the magician because his existence was magical. Merlin came into the world with a big personality. He always had a smile on his face and he loved doing silly things and making people laugh. Around the age of 3, Merlin caught the attention of a talent scout. The scout encouraged Leah to take Merlin to an audition for a national fast food ad campaign. He nailed the audition and got the job, and from that point forward, he never stopped working. He spoke both English and Spanish, and that opened even more doors for him. Merlin continued booking projects throughout the 1980s, but in 1990, things really began to pick up. Merlin starred in a play called Hey Little Walter. Bill Cosby saw the play and handpicked Merlin to be in his hit TV show, The Cosby Show. They exchanged information and began ironing out the details. In the meantime, Merlin continued working. In 1991, he played the role of Marvin in the TV show Major Dad. Also in 1991, he played the role of Ronald Griggs in the TV show Law and Order. Later that year, he played a newspaper boy in the film The Cabinet of Dr. Ramirez. Around this time, his meetings with Bill Cosby materialized, and he was given a reoccurring role on The Cosby Show. Merlin played the role of Stanley, a troubled youth who had academic problems, but ultimately overcame them and later became Rudy's love interest.
Our relationship isn't just about dating, holding hands, kissy face.
By this time, Merlin was fully enthralled with acting. He spent all of his time outside of school, going to auditions, rehearsals, and tapings. Acting also kept him out of trouble. While a lot of his peers turned to crime and ended up dead or in jail, Leah and Domingo made sure he resisted the pull of the streets and focused on his craft. He also had a passion for music and was known as a talented rapper around the neighborhood. Merlin was proud of his Dominican heritage and represented it everywhere he went, and he wanted to show people that Latinos come in all different skin tones.
Welcome to another episode, everyone. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. And as we hear, this is the story of Merlin Santana. Shout out to Hood Politics. Many of us know the story of how this man died. Of course, he ended up he's most known for his role, I believe, on the Steve Harvey show. And a lie got him killed. A lie. Let's continue with the story. But he lost his life for nothing, man. Over a psycho.
1992, Merlin played the role of Mikey Harris in the film In the Line of Duty, Street War. It was during this time that Merlin moved to Los Angeles to further pursue his acting career, and he immediately began landing roles. In 1993, he landed a starring role as Marcus Dixon in the TV show Getting By. In 1994, he played the role of Joey in the TV show Sister Sister. In 1995, he landed a starring role as Marcus Henry in the TV show Under One Roof, where he performed alongside industry heavyweights such as Joe Morton, Vanessa Bell Calloway, and James Earl Jones.
Mira, este es mi nieto. El papá de él fue el que tú casi le metiste una bala, así que no enseñe la cara por aquí o la cosa se va a poner heavy, mi hermano. ¿Tú me estás oyendo? Yeah, I act like you know.
What did you just say to him?
Oh, I just said you were my brother's son and we lived in his house, we were family, stuff like that.
When did you learn to talk like that?
My mom's. She was Dominican.
Later that year, he played the role of Calvin in the TV show Hanging with Mr. Cooper. A lot of child stars experience difficulty when transitioning from child actor to adult actor. Merlin was in the very small percentile that was able to transition successfully. He avoided the pitfalls of many actors that venture to Hollywood by avoiding drugs and partying and choosing to live tucked away in the San Fernando Valley, away from the Hollywood scene. From 1996 to 2002, Merlin played his most famous role as Romeo Santos Santana in the hit TV show The Steve Harvey Show. Romeo was a good-hearted fool, known for his hijinks and way with the ladies. Merlin held his own alongside comedy legends Steve Harvey and Cedric the Entertainer.
All this over a silly board game. Was it worth it, Mr. Hightower?
Well,
Was it?
In 1996, Merlin was nominated for an NCLR Bravo Award for Outstanding Individual Performance in a Comedy Series for his performance on The Steve Harvey Show. Also in 1996, he played the reoccurring role of Ohaji in the TV show Moesha. Later that year, he played the role of Flex in the film Harambe. In 1997, he played the role of Warren in the TV show NYPD Blue. When Merlin went to New York, he sometimes hung out with the group known as the Yellow Top Crew, or YTC. YTC was a drug gang that operated in Merlin's old neighborhood, and a lot of his childhood friends ended up becoming members of YTC. The group was responsible for numerous robberies, assaults, and murders. The gang ran their territory with an iron fist and were indicted by law enforcement on multiple occasions. A man named Chango was a leader in YTC, and he recalled being taken aback that even with all of his success, Merlin still wanted to be around them. In one of his freestyles, Merlin mentions being involved with YTC.
Cops try to raid me, I close shop and fleet. Crooked cop info coming handy. That be my role model as a YTC.
Some believe that the affiliation rubbed off on Merlin. William Lee Scott, who played the role of Bullethead on The Steve Harvey Show, shared his thoughts about Merlin during an interview a few years ago. William described Merlin as being super talented, but said that he was wild, headstrong, and unpredictable at times. Others said that they never saw that side of him. Steve Harvey recalled Merlin being respectful, cool, and down to earth. I guess the best way to describe Merlin would be as layered. Around this time, Merlin and his on-again, off-again girlfriend had a daughter named Melinda. In 1998 and in 1999, Merlin was nominated for an American Latino Media Arts Award for Outstanding Actor in a Comedy Series for his performance on The Steve Harvey Show. In 2001 and in 2002, he was nominated for an NAACP Image Award for Outstanding Supporting Actor in a Comedy Series for his performance on The Steve Harvey Show. Merlin started taking rap seriously and began working on an album. He connected with a man named Jelani Alexander and began working on music in Jelani's home studio, but acting was still his primary focus. In 2001, Merlin played the role of Jermaine in the movie Flossin'. In 2002, he played the role of Seaman McBride in the TV show Jag. Also in 2002, he played the starring role of Mayhem in the film Played, a hip-hop story. The film is inspired by the East Coast versus West Coast feud that took place during the 1990s.
I thought we had a conversation about you dialing up Jacks.
Why should I roll over for him? He shot me.
You know Jimmy didn't have anything to do with that.
That radio rap he's spitting, he just playing a political angle. Yeah, Cali boy full of words now, but he gonna run out of them real soon.
Later in 2002, he played the role of a temperamental R&B singer named Dante El Dente in the TV show Half and Half. That same year, he played the role of Goya in the film The Blues, but unfortunately, Merlin wouldn't make it to see the film's release date. On Wednesday, November 6, 2002, Merlin was hanging out with his friend, a man named Brandon Adams. Brandon was also an accomplished actor. He played the role of Fool in the 1991 film The People Under the Stairs. In 1992, he played the role of Jesse Hall in the film The Mighty Ducks. He also played the role of Kenny DeNunez in the 1993 film The Sandlot, among numerous other projects. The two went to a Chinese food restaurant located in a strip mall at the intersection of Stocker Street and Crenshaw Boulevard. While they were eating, they were approached by a young woman named Monique King, who went by the nickname Mercedes, and her friend. They recognized the guys from their works and joined them at the table. Merlin and Monique then exchanged phone numbers and made plans to keep in touch. Monique was a 15-year-old runaway and is believed that she lied about her age during their conversation. Later that evening, at around 7 p.m., Monique called Merlin and asked if he wanted to hang out. He said yes and picked up Monique and another one of her friends named Shaquita Harris at a Jack in the Box restaurant. Merlin, Brandon, Monique, and Shaquita then went back to Merlin's condo in Studio City, where they spent the night drinking and having relations. Around 1 a.m., Merlin and Brandon dropped Monique and Shaquita off in the Wilshire district. It's important to note that many have denied these acts taking place. On Friday, November 8th, 2002, Brandon was having car trouble and borrowed his mom's rental rental car, a white Kia Rio. At around 10 p.m., Brandon went to Jelani's house and made his way to the studio. When he walked in, he saw Merlin and Jelani drinking and smoking while playing a video game. Merlin had made plans to fly back to New York, but stayed in LA for an audition. A while later, Monique called Merlin and asked if she could come over. He said yes and gave her directions to Jelani's house. At around 11:30, Monique arrived at the home and entered through the back door. She used the restroom and then sat down on the couch. She was acting nervous and repeatedly putting her head in her hands. Jelani believed that she was pretending to be drunk because she didn't stumble when she walked in and she was able to hold a coherent conversation. About 20 minutes later, Monique received a phone call and said that she had to meet someone outside because they were dropping something off to her. She gave the person on the phone directions to Jelani's house and asked to be let out the front door, but Jelani told her to exit through the back door. Brandon and Jelani grew suspicious of Monique's behavior, and unbeknownst to her, Brandon followed her outside and saw her get into a champagne-colored SUV that was parked next door. The SUV then drove down the street and stopped about 2 blocks away. Brandon continued watching the truck until its lights went off. He then went back inside of the house. Merlin called Monique's phone but got no answer. Shortly afterwards, Merlin and Brandon got into the Kia and drove to where the SUV had been parked, but it was no longer there. They then made a U-turn and headed back to Jelani's house. As they drove, they spotted a SUV at the corner of 39th Street and Victoria Avenue, but weren't sure if it was the same one that Monique got into. At around 2 a.m., Merlin and Brandon left Jelani's house. As they walked across the driveway, they saw 2 men standing across the street, talking to someone sitting inside of a vehicle. Merlin and Brandon made it to the Kia. Merlin got into the front passenger seat and Brandon got into the driver's seat. Shortly after starting the car, Brandon saw a red beam of light.
So this is all, I used to go right there. I used to go to that little liquor store right there on that corner. But anyway, this is all over right there on Stocker and Crenshaw. This is all over a 15-year-old girl who sources say the evidence shows they believe that she lied about her age during the conversation. So Merlin welcomed her to sit down and have food at this Chinese place where they were sitting down. The girl and another female recognized Merlin Santana and the other dude that he was with, who was also an actor. He invited them to sit down and have food. They exchanged numbers. Now they didn't sort of hooked up, but she's acting later on that night, but she's acting very suspicious. Getting in the cars and leaving out and all of this. You have to be real careful who you being with, who you hanging with. You know, who you inviting over to your place and who place you're going over to.
Light flashing through the car, and moments later, he heard gunshots. 6 or 7 rapid shots were fired through the car. He ducked down and looked in his rear view and saw 2 men running towards them. He saw that the men were wearing hats and holding guns, but he couldn't see their faces. Brandon put the car in drive, but he could feel that the tires were flat. He was able to drive off, and when he looked back, he saw the 2 men get into their vehicle and began to chase after them. He looked over at Merlin and saw that he was bleeding. Brandon drove to the intersection of Rodeo Road and Crenshaw Boulevard, where he got the attention of a police officer. The officer saw that the Kia was riddled with bullet holes. He then saw Merlin slumped forward in the passenger seat. One of the bullets pierced the trunk, traveled through the back seat, then traveled through the passenger seat's headrest and struck Merlin in the back of his head. He died instantly. He was 26 years old. Detectives arrived at the scene and began their investigation. They found 9 bullet casings in the area around 39th Street and Victoria Avenue. They were all fired from the same weapon, which was believed to be a M1 .30 caliber carbine rifle. Investigators spoke with Brandon and he told them about the events prior to the shooting, and they immediately wanted to speak with Monique. The next morning, at the request of investigators, Brandon called Monique and asked if they could meet. The 2 met at the Jack in the Box, where Brandon pointed her out to investigators. Detectives took Monique in for questioning. During the interview, Monique lied about her name, her age, and her address. When they asked her about the events of the previous night, her story kept changing, but ultimately, she decided decided to cooperate with investigators. Detectives seized Monique's cell phone and saw the calls that she made to Merlin, but they also found calls that she made to another person, and the calls made to that person just so happened to occur within minutes of the shooting at 1:58 a.m., 1:59 a.m., 2:02 a.m., and 2:03 a.m. The number was stored under the name Kid. Investigators later found that Kid was a 20-year-old man named Damian Andre Gates. On November 21st, investigators executed a search warrant of Damian's home. They seized a cell phone with the same phone number as the one Monique had saved under Kid. They also found a black New York Yankees hat and a .30 caliber bullet under his bed. Damian's aunt had rented a gray Dodge Durango SUV, which was returned just a few hours after the shooting. Investigators arrested Damian and the other suspect in the murder, a 23-year-old man named Brandon Douglas Bynes, who went by the nickname Busy. Investigators interviewed both men. Damian denied to knowing Monique or Shaquita prior to the night of the shooting. However, he did admit to driving the Durango that night. Initially, Damian denied being involved in the shooting, but later he admitted to the shooting and said that he used the pistol. During Busy's interview, he also initially denied being involved in the shooting, but later he admitted to the shooting and he also claimed to have used the pistol. At this point, it was clear that the rifle was the murder weapon, and neither man wanted to admit to actually firing the fatal shot. But during Monique's interrogation, she told investigators that Damian had the rifle and Busy had the pistol. According to Shaquita, her and Monique were both runaways at the time, and they met only a week or two before the murder. At around 8 p.m. on the evening of the shooting, Shaquita met up with Busy and Damian. This was her first time meeting Damian. The group brought some liquor and some pills and found a secluded place to park. Later that night, Damian received a phone call from Monique. She told him that someone was trying to take advantage of her. She said that when she got to Jelani's house, the men told her to sit on the floor and take off her clothes, and they had a video camera set up. Initially, Damian didn't believe her. He and Busy got out of the vehicle and walked towards the corner. After about 10 minutes, they returned to the vehicle and told Monique that they were going to handle it. Shortly afterwards, the group drove to Damian's house. Busy and Damian went inside of the home and returned to the vehicle with a duffel bag. Inside of the bag was a rifle and a pistol. The group then drove about 15 minutes to Jelani's house. Damian started loading the rifle and Busy grabbed the pistol. Their initial plan was to shoot the house up. Shortly afterwards, Monique came out of the house and got into the vehicle. A while later, Merlin and Brandon walked outside and entered the Kia. Damian and Busy began running towards them and opened fire. There was about 6 or 7 shots and Monique drove over and picked them up. The group then fled the scene. Monique King, Brandon Douglas Bynes, and Damian Andre Gates were all charged with the murder of Merlin Santana and the attempted murder of Brandon Adams. Brandon Douglas Bynes pled guilty to voluntary manslaughter and assault with a deadly weapon. He was sentenced to 23 years in prison. Damian and Monique pled not guilty and took their cases to trial. Monique was tried as an adult. During the trial, Damian told the court that he and Busy met Monique and Shaquita on the night of the shooting while they were driving down Crenshaw Boulevard near Stocker Street. He said they saw the girls and pulled over to talk to them. They then gave the girls a ride to a nearby liquor store. Afterwards, the group went to Damian's house where he picked up a pistol. Monique told him that she had a date that night and was waiting on a phone call. Damian said that he didn't consider Monique to be his date and that the two were not romantically involved. The group then began drinking and taking pills. A while later, they dropped Monique off at Jelani's house and headed to a Del Taco restaurant, but had to stop before getting there because Damian felt dizzy. Shortly afterwards, Monique called Damian and asked him to pick her up. He began driving back towards Jelani's house, and moments later, he received another call from Monique. This time, she was hysterical and asking him to hurry up. They made it to the house and picked up Monique. She was crying and her clothes were mangled. She told them that she had been assaulted. Damian said he became infuriated because he didn't take abuse lightly. He pulled the SUV over because he was so upset. This was when Brandon saw the SUV stop 2 blocks away. Damian then drove to his house, grabbed the duffel bag, which had the rifle inside, and went back to Jelani's house. Damian said as he exited the vehicle, he heard someone say, "There they go." He then ran after Merlin and Brandon and opened fire. The rifle was old and beat up and stuck in automatic mode. It also had a red laser sight mounted on top. Damian said he didn't remember anything else about the incident. He said that he was in a rage and was not thinking about what he was doing. He was just shooting. He sold the guns a day or 2 later. Ultimately, Damian was found guilty with the murder of Merlin Santana and the attempted murder of Brandon Adams, as well as gun charges. Damian Andre Gates was sentenced to 70 years to life in prison. Monique later admitted to investigators that she lied about being assaulted. Merlin, Brandon, and Jelani never made any advances towards her. She was never forced to sit on the floor and take her clothes off, and there was no camera set up. Monique never gave a reason as to why she fabricated such a story, nor did she express any remorse regarding the situation. Ultimately, Monique was found guilty of second-degree murder for the murder of Merlin Santana. She was also found guilty with the attempted murder of Brandon Adams. Monique King was sentenced to 10 years in California Youth Authority and was later released. Many feel like the sentence was essentially a slap on the wrist, stating that her lie was the catalyst for an innocent man being murdered and another.
Yes, 10 years. My goodness. Whether she pulled the trigger or not, she set it all in motion. And she was found guilty of second-degree murder and attempted murder. Regardless of her role in it, those were the charges, very serious charges, and that's all the time that she got was 10 years. And this man lost his life, and they tried to take this man out all over a lie that she made up, that she fabricated out of nowhere, never showed any remorse, still don't know why she made up this lie. This man just met her, fed her, gave her hungry self some food at the Chinese place, him and his partner. They see two females they met. And then she makes up this whole lie on him for some reason, but then makes up the lie, by her own admission it was a lie, makes up the lie and tells it to someone else that she also just met the same day. She just met this dude this day. This dude is so, I don't want to hear this, that he's just all against this abuse. Whatever, man. This dude is so in love with this girl or something already. He just met her today. He just met her that day. And she calls you and you don't investigate. You don't find out. You don't ask any questions to get to the truth, to find out that she's lying. Because if you ask some questions, you can find out that she's lying. Her story changed many times when she got with the police. So her story is going to change with you too if you ask some questions. If it's your sister or something, your mother or something, I understand you don't ask any questions because you're just going to believe what they say. But this is a woman that you just met this day. You don't know her, calling you, telling you this stuff. And so you go get your rifle, you go get in your car, go get your weapon, an automatic rifle or something, and come back and start shooting at these dudes. Probably didn't even know who they were. I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe she told him who they were. It didn't matter. They come shooting at him and hit him in the head. All over a lie. Over something that he never did. He probably like, man, he didn't know what was. Oh, that's sad, man. That's messed up, man. That's messed up, bro. He didn't know what was going on. These bullets coming at him. He know he ain't done nothing. Like, what? He's not a gang member, or whatever. He's like, what is it? The hell these dudes shooting at me for? And he's just trying to get out of the way. Get out of there like any of us would be and get hit in the back of the head and die instantly. Never had a chance, never had a shot. Lost his life for nothing, all over a lie. Some fabricated nonsense. And then the woman that makes up this lie gets 10 years in the youth authority. Now she's free. He's still dead. Wow.
Other one being nearly killed. In the years following her release, Monique was arrested multiple times for crimes ranging from sex work to probation violations. Not much is known about her whereabouts these days. Merlin Santana's legacy lives on through his family, friends, fans, and numerous projects, with only a fraction of them being covered in this video. Merlin's brother Ish has a YouTube channel with his girlfriend called Annie and Ish, where he shares memories of Merlin. He also named his son Merlin in honor of his older brother. In 2018, Merlin's daughter, Melinda, graduated from New York University with a degree in nursing. During the ceremony, she wore a cap that featured a message to her father. It read, "Dad, no worries. I know you're proud of me in heaven." Merlin's story has become a cautionary tale on how the price of a lie can cost everything. I want to thank you guys for tuning in.
Wow. Wow, man. Whoa. Rest in peace to Merlin Santana, man. Dang, bro. Lost his life over this, over a straight lie, bro. People just, wow. Flabbergasted, man. People just don't think, bro. let these weapons go that you're ruining so many lives, not just the life that you take. Look at this brother who has to just sit there and now share memories of his big brother, share pictures. What is this man going through on the inside? His brother lost his life and he knows for nothing, got hit in the back of the head for nothing. His daughter has to just send a message for her graduation because somebody took her father's life for nothing. Freaking culture stinks, bro. This culture stinks, man. Serious. It's ridiculous. These dudes are absolutely asinine. No respect for human life. Neither does she have any respect for this man in his life. I don't know, she doesn't know them. She doesn't know what they're going to do with this information, how they're going to react, I'm sure, because you don't know these people. You just met them that day. Maybe she didn't know they was going to come over there with guns blazing. Whatever. That's why you don't make up lies and put people in these sort of positions. These individuals are no better, obviously, to pick up a weapon and go shooting and take someone's life over someone that you just met that day. You don't know her to know if she's telling the truth or not, clearly, because she wasn't. Now, you done lost your life, ruined your life, got 70 years because you decided to go to trial. Merlin then lost his life. She got 10 years, did not lose her life. She's free now. And then the other guy got whatever time he got, which wasn't whatever they said he got for the manslaughter. 18 years or something, I forgot, whatever. All this over a lie. And all these lies ruined. Shot the other man that was with Merlin. He traumatized forever, knowing his friend and got hit like that, and he was right there. And he's seen all this. Jeez. All of just these bad decisions that happen quickly, man. Change your life forever. Wow work. Wow. Let me know what you think in the comments. Stay safe and stay free, people. Rest in peace to Merlin Santana. Whoa.